What was that?
Meve asked Reynard, who rode beside her.
A scream. A man's, I think.
Need to investigate. Gather a few men and we ride. Quickly!
The screaming came from a small settlement. When Meve rode up to its farmhouses, her horse reared and neighed in terror. Necrophages swarmed all around. The monsters surrounded a few Nilfgaardians who were trying, with no success, to chase them off with torches. Reynard swept his gaze over the carnage and said,
They cannot stave them off, and their armor is too heavy for them to flee.
Meve was uncertain at first how to act. But when she saw ghouls snatch one of the Nilfgaardians and rip him to shreds, she drew her sword.
No one deserves such a death. Not even a Nilfgaardian. Follow me! Lower your weapons! We're here to rescue you!
This evil I shall trample out, root and branch! Why do you help us? Let the ghouls eat him, I say!
Silence! The Queen has made her decision. It worked, Your Grace. The monsters flee.
The Lyrians and the Nilfgaardians fought the monsters side by side, a united force. But when the last necrophage fell, the soldiers immediately returned to their respective divisions. Meve's soldiers looked at the invaders askance, uncertain what would happen next. Suddenly, one of the Nilfgaardians broke ranks and fell to his knees.
Your Grace, I know you have no reason to trust us, but we are not enemies. We hail from Gheso, a land Nilfgaard conquered and made its province. We did not ask to fight in this war by force. We were conscripted.
The soldier hefted his sword by the blade and handed it, hilt first, to the Queen.
We yearned for a way to desert, and we have found it. Your Grace, allow us to join your army. We long for the Empire's defeat every bit as much as you do.
Meve helped the kneeling soldier to his feet.
The enemy of Nilfgaard is my friend, no matter who he is or whence he hail.
The Lyrians were clearly displeased with their queen's decision. The black-clad deserters from Gheso would need to earn their trust. Meve walked up to the kneeling soldier and took the sword from his hand.
Well worn. Tell me, how did it receive this chip? Chopping wood? Carving a roast?
The soldier gave no reply, but merely dropped his gaze. That was enough to convince the Queen his conscience was not clean.
Leave this place. And should I ever come across you again, do not count on my mercy.
The deserters took their things and disappeared silently into the trees. Meve turned to the rest of her soldiers. She could tell they were pleased with her decision. Meve squinted and smiled cruelly.
Soldiers, we behold a battle. On one side fight bloodthirsty, mindless beasts who live to kill, and on the other, ghouls. To my mind, they deserve one another. Fall back.
The Queen tugged the reins and turned her mount, ready to leave the village, when Eyck stepped into her path.
'Tis ignoble!
The knight cried.
No matter the crest they bear, men they are still. And I, Eyck of Denesle, shall race to their succor, even if I must pitch battle alone.
Without awaiting the Queen's response, Eyck lowered his lance, spurred his mount, and charged at the beasts.
Since Eyck sees no difference between a Nilfgaardian and a Northerner,
Meve said.
'Tis good he has left our ranks. We return to the others.
Shocked by the Queen's decision, the soldiers stood motionless for a time, looking from her to the Nilfgaardians fending off the vicious horde. In the end, they followed the Queen's order and started back, though from time to time they would glance over their shoulders. As for Eyck, he was never heard from again.
Blast it all.
Meve swore, drawing her sword.
Suppose we can't just leave that fool to the ghouls. Follow me! To battle!
Without delay, the Lyrians rushed to rescue Eyck and the Nilfgaardians. Meave squinted and smiled cruelly.
Soldiers, we behold a battle. On one side fight bloodthirsty, mindless beasts who live to kill, and on the other, ghouls. To my mind, they deserve one another. Fall back.
The queen tugged her reins and turned her horse. Soon thereafter, the woods rang with Lyrian laughter, mixed with cries of terror from the Nilfgaardians as they were dismembered alive.